And I think it's all a matter of survival here and nothing more, but I can tell you I have 3 clients that I lost last week because they lost their job. I don't think, my personal opinion, I think it's really not a matter of cars being in the driveway, although she's absolutely correct. There's only going to be 1 or 2. If I should put up a salon in my home, there would be only 1 or 2 cars in the driveway at a time, and that's it. If there would be even 2. But it's a matter of survival, and I think we need to be supporting each other on this issue. We're in for tough times, and I don't mean this sarcastically, but America needs to wake up. We need to be helping and supporting one another in our business. We're in a struggling economy, and when you're a hairstylist, you hear everything out there. Mark my word, we're in a terrible economy right now.
One moment. One of the things I want to stress is that, we hear, and I voiced my opinion, and I certainly understand where you're coming from, but we also have a responsibility to try and balance all of this on behalf of everyone in the city. And I'm going to use myself as an example. For over 30 years, I've lived on Oneida, and I can guarantee you, I've seen, as far as I'm concerned, my quality of life has gone way down. It used to be that there were a few businesses, 2 doors up, there was a guy who had a barber shop. And it's R3, certainly it's and people can say, well, you knew when you bought there it was R3. Yeah, but it was R3 and it had a totally different character. Now, as time has moved on, things have changed, businesses have taken hold that have really affected the quality of the neighborhood. So one of the things that we're trying to balance here is the amount of traffic that's going to go into residential neighborhoods and how that's going to affect, not only today, but into the future, the quality of those neighborhoods, the kind of life, residential life that exists in those neighborhoods.
I just would like to address something. Years and years ago, there were no zoning rules whatsoever in the city of Oneida. Absolutely none. At some point in time, I don't remember how many years ago, it was decided to have a zoning law. And whatever it was at that time was an effort to balance different interests. And it's not just one off against the other, it's trying to balance many different concerns and interests, some of which are business interests, some of which are residential interests. Any change to the zoning ordinance, whether it's a little change or a major change, as was done several years ago, is a rebalancing. And someone's interest is going to be served or not served by whatever those specific choices are. One of the things that the council and the city is trying to do is to promote what, in my words, and I'm reflecting the discussions that I have heard, are businesses that could be done in somebody's home that ideally would have no impact on the neighborhood. And the prototypical internet business where a husband and wife sit at their computers and they use the internet to communicate with customers and provide some service and send out their bills, and they get paid through the mail or by direct deposit. That's sort of the ideal home business because it has no impact whatsoever on a neighborhood. Well, there are other types of businesses that I think the council wants to promote that have a little bit of impact. And I think that's why promoting, allowing those businesses in these various neighborhoods is considered to be desirable. Any time that you draw a line, if the line is no customers coming, that's a line. If it's 5 customers or 10 customers or 110 customers, you're drawing a line somewhere. If you draw the line at 10, who's going to want to stretch it to 11? If you say 0, are people going to stretch it to have one person come in to their business? So at some point, when you're doing this balancing, you've got to put the line somewhere. And this was based on a strong recommendation from the Planning Commission. It was also, there was quite a bit of discussion. This is not the first, tonight is not the first time this question has come up. And the recommendation is, at this point in time, to strike that balance at 5. There is the variance procedure. And I can't say that I'm familiar with the Dunn property. I lived at 330 William Street for a number of years. I'm pretty sure I know which house that is. But I think that we have to have a line drawn someplace. The variance procedure allows the specific well, let me take it a step back. Drawing a line at some point is a citywide rule, because you have to have a rule. Everybody knows what the rule is. Having a variance procedure allows the specific circumstances of a property to be taken into account and a decision made. And it might go one way or it might go the other. Now, I'm sort of presuming to speak for the council as a whole, and certainly if any of the councilors disagree with something that I said or want to elaborate on it, they're certainly welcome to do that. But I'm trying to, this was not a quick, gee, what, 5, that's a perfect number, let's do 5. It's an effort to strike a balance. There are a lot of considerations besides the Dunns that we took into account, or your situation. There are a lot of people who want no businesses of any sort in neighborhoods of various hours. And we're trying to again, I'm going to overuse the concept, we're trying to strike a balance that serves the best interests of the city as a whole, not necessarily people who live in one neighborhood or particular individuals. What works, what do we think will work best for the city as a whole for a reasonable time into the future? But this is an example of where the conventional wisdom of politics as usual says do nothing controversial. Well, that gets simplified to the conventional wisdom of politics as usual says do nothing. Because if we did nothing with our zoning code, then we're not making any changes that hurt anybody new. Whatever the balance is what it is, and everybody's gotten used to it. We're trying to strike a new balance to take into account new developments in the world. Is this a perfect balance? I wish it was. I hope it is perfect balance. Are there people who would like to have 6 customers or 26 customers? I'm sure there are. Are there other people who would say that there should be no change in this provision in the zoning? Yes, there are. We've heard from both sides. The variance, the option of having a variance we're trying to do something that is given citywide application. The variance provision allows the specific circumstances of an individual person and individual property to be carefully considered, as well as those of their immediate neighbors, as well as the neighborhood as a whole. So that's what we're trying to do. Is it perfect? I really hope it's perfect. I wouldn't count on it being perfect, but we hope it's perfect. Isn't there any other? It was moved and seconded. We've had an opportunity for comment and discussion. I'm going to ask that all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say nay. Any abstentions? That resolution is approved.